Well, hello, ladies. Happy Friday morning. We are at the top of the hour and I have so much to cover today and I'm so excited because I believe knowing our strengths is the very first step and it is the foundation of knowing if you're on the right career path. And so today we're going to talk about first clarifying your strengths and second, owning and really stepping into your strengths. So get ready. We got some juicy stuff coming up, but are you ready? Are you ready to embrace this time in your life, midlife, where you can just give yourself permission to really dig deep into who you are and even what might be hidden under the layers that have built over time. Because we've been here for a while. The layers can build, especially if we're not aligned. So I think midlife is the most amazing time in our life to dig in, to understand who we are. We have so much life experience that we can reflect on and look back at. All the what went wells, all the what didn't go so wells, and our wisdom is at its peak. Do you see yourself as wise? Because you are. You have been around the block, ladies. So, with all this, I feel like we've earned the right to take the time and step back and really examine our strengths. So, here's a question for you. When I talk about this, does this cause a stir of excitement? Or does it also create a little fear? What if you dig in and then feel compelled to do something about it? That in itself may stir up some fears or doubts for you. So we'll get to that later. But let's start first by identifying our strengths, those amazing gifts that make you uniquely you. And I can tell you for myself, it was my own self examination that led me to leaving my comfortable corporate leadership position at 54 years old to go full on with my coaching business. For me, I had reached the highest level of self awareness I had ever had, and I was in acceptance of what I found in that. I felt like I had to lean into it. Like there was no choice, literally, like my mind, my body, my intuition, everything was screaming at me. And honestly, I was tired of placating and fitting in a box that wasn't mine to fit in. I tried to make the box work for years because there are expectations of others, expectations of myself. And it was easier to just not shake things up in my world. Sure, there were some aspects of my job that felt good, but then the not so good began to override for me, and I knew it was time. So I couldn't look back. I had to move forwards. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. I had to become a coach, a trainer, and a speaker supporting midlife women with their life purpose. So here I am, being me, and it feels so liberating to be me. And I want this for you, however it looks for you. I want each of you to be working in a career that feels like home to you, even if that means stepping into a new career. So, one of the most fundamental steps in the process of career alignment is getting clear on your natural strengths. We each have them, and there is beauty in the uniqueness that we each bring. And so I really, really, really want us to stop putting energy into working against the grain and focusing on our weaknesses. I want us to look at our zones of genius where we just naturally thrive because it's who we are. So, my first question for you to consider: do you really know what your strengths are? Have you adapted to the environment you're in? Do you wonder where the real you went? I want to find her today. I want to help you find her today. She has unique gifts to offer, and I don't want her to leave them on the table. Some questions you could even ask yourself. Have you ever had moments in your life where people have pointed out something that you're really good at? Maybe you've had this happen many times, but in your mind, you've kind of explained them away, you've deflected them, minimized them, or you might just assume, well, everyone else is really good at that too. But it's not the case. These are moments, these are gifts. When someone points out a strength to you, these are signs to watch for. These are telling moments. You really need to listen. These are gifts they're giving you, and it's important to pay attention. So, if we did a gut check right now, do you have any strengths that perhaps you've never truly acknowledged? And really think about moments in your life, maybe when you were young or a young adult, or just over the course of time where you literally thought you were no different than anyone else, but in fact you were. I want you to hone into those light bulb moments that you didn't see before as light bulb moments. So let's shine a light on them now. I'm going to give you one example for me. So growing up, I was very shy at a young age, and I was scared of giving speeches. And I have a couple really crazy stories. I'll share two briefly. One was a fourth grade book report where all we had to do is get up and give an intro to the book without giving the ending. I got up and I gave the whole book. Like I told the beginning and the middle and the end. And then all of a sudden I realized what I did and I just looked down because I just froze. I remember just looking at the ground. And my teacher said, "Are you done, Dawn?" I'm like, and so that was my first lesson in thinking to myself, you're not a good speaker. Several moments like that happened throughout junior high and high school. And then in college, when I'm like, Dawn, you can overcome this. I have a speech on Toys R Us in business communications class. And I froze. I literally froze. I couldn't remember anything. And I remember holding my notes and like it was just all a blur. So I had told myself, Dawn, you are not a good communicator or speaker. Fast forward into my career. I step into the role at Mayo Clinic as Director of Patient Experience, where we were expected to go out and speak at conferences about what we were doing, and within the organization too, to get up and talk about it. And it was a stretch for me. It was definitely a stretch, and I remember the nerves. And then suddenly, one of my conferences that I was speaking at, someone came up to me and said, "You're a natural at this. You're really gifted at speaking." Like, what? Me? Like, no, that's not me. And then I heard it over and over again. And suddenly I realized that's a gift I had that I didn't realize I had if I was just prepared to step into it. And ladies, I know I'm not alone. We all have these wake up calls where we just need to listen and accept them. And to stop believing the stories that we're telling ourselves. Do you have a strength that you can acknowledge and just get behind so you can feel more like yourself and maybe more excited about your work again? So you might be sitting there thinking, Dawn, where I work, people do not appreciate the strengths I bring to the table, the strengths I bring to the table. In which I say, let's talk. Because A, these could be stories you're telling yourself to keep yourself safe. We're human. That is a normal bodily reaction. Or you might be misaligned in your workspace. It's just not right for you. Either way, this is the kind of support I give my midlife women. So now, with all of this in mind, let's dig into the 4 steps to get clear on your strengths and own them. 1, top strengths clarity. Here's some interesting statistic for you gals. Did you know that your strengths are 1 in 33.4 million, according to Gallup's Clifton Strengths? And if you haven't done Clifton Strengths, also known as Strengths Finder, this is an assessment that I use in my program with my midlife women, and we will not go into that here. But this is a research-based tool, and it will help you see who you are, what your strengths are, and how unique they are. And when we combine the strengths with our specific interests and our desires and our experiences and beliefs, there's no one like you. No one sees the world as you do. And that is your power. Your power is knowing and leveraging your unique gifts. Let's not keep them under wraps, ladies. It's not healthy for our bodies, our minds, to not fully explore and embrace the gifts we were given. So let's raise the flag on our strengths. Imagine finishing your career journey and never really sharing your strengths with others. Who is missing out right now because you're not ready and willing to step into your strengths? So, first step I want you to do, ladies, and I'm going to talk through this, but write down 1 to 3 of what you see as your natural strengths. Don't be shy, okay? Because we can be shy sometimes. But I want you to embrace them because these were gifted to you. Let's celebrate the who of you. So, pro tip. What is a talent of yours that brings you energy when you do it? Now, if it's a talent that drains you, this is not a natural strength. This is something that you've learned, adapted to, and are now doing it because you need to do it. I want you to think of what brings you energy. So here's some prompting questions. What comes naturally to you? What brings you absolute joy? If money and time were limitless, what would you choose to do with your time? That's an indicator of a strength. What types of work activities do you not consider to be work but actually enjoyable? Another sign. Think about moments over your life where you were in complete flow. Identify what it was about you in those moments that stood out as your natural gifts. Think about what you bring to people, to places, and events in your life. Do you bring calm? Do you inspire confidence? Do you promote growth? Do you roll up your sleeves and get things done? I have one more pro tip for you. Are there other people that you look at and think, dang, they are so gifted with fill in the blank? Maybe it's a coworker who's so empathic in difficult situations. Maybe it's your spouse who is so articulate with his words. Maybe it's a member of your team who just shines on stage. Here's the tip, ladies. If you can see these in them, you also have them. And the more you are drawn to their gifts, the more likely they are strong within you. These are clues, ladies. So I want you to think about people in your life that you know well. This is another way to approach this because sometimes it's hard for us to dig in and find them within ourselves. Think about people who know you well. What would they say your superpowers are? What would they say makes you stand out? And if you really want to dig in, go ask them. Ask them, what do they see as your strengths? And I will share from personal experience, this is such a feel-good exercise. And what you might find is a validation of what you knew within you, but you were afraid to write down. Okay, ladies. So getting clear on your strengths. Spend time within this for yourself and speak with others that know you well. Now, ladies, we're going to do a career alignment checkpoint. Step 2. Where are you really? On a scale of 1 to 10, how often do you get to utilize your strengths in your career? Look at the ones you wrote down. If you do use these strengths currently, how often are you using them? And what does it look like? So it's important to take the time to acknowledge how actively you're using your strengths at work. And when I work with my clients, I find that many went into careers that did not take into account their personal zones of genius. Because we'll be honest here, most of us didn't know what our strengths were in our 20s. We went into careers that were kind of suggested or laid out in front of us. And then life got busy, moving up the career ladder, raising kids, supporting our families, etc., etc. And it may have been a fear of taking a chance on something different. The risk of something different may have felt greater than the reward. But I'm here to tell you, ladies, the reward of working in a career that completely aligns with your who is a gift to yourself that is priceless. And you won't know until you try. So, ladies, in what ways are you not aligned with your strengths? Take the time to dig in and evaluate your misalignment if this is you. And how is this affecting you professionally and honestly, personally? For some of my clients, when they look at their alignment levels, this can bring up some strong emotions and disappointment. And it can feel like there's no end in sight. The first step is bringing these forward so you can acknowledge it and do something about it. All right, step 3, ladies. Career alignment, introspection. Spending time in reflection is critical to making the choices that are going to serve us well in life. And if we don't do this, we're just going to be stuck on our hamster wheel, going through the motions and not taking time for ourselves. So I have 3 introspection questions for you to think about. First, I want you to write down, why is it important to you to be aligned with your strengths? Please be honest here. And I'm guessing you're likely here because it is important to you to be aligned with your strengths in your career. And if that is the case, dig into why. Because once we dig into why, you're going to feel more of a sense of empowerment towards action. So why? 3 reasons why it's important to you. Second exercise here. Write down what would change in your life if you were aligned with your strengths in your career. Think as broad as you want. What would your life look like? Do you get excited thinking about possibilities? This is an opportunity to really look into your future, which is important to build motivation for taking actual steps towards it. I'm not going to cover this in our live, but I got to tell you, one of my favorite exercises I do with my clients is a very specific visualization exercise I created. And I am almost always shocked at the impact that this exercise has for women. And third, ladies, when you think of your strengths and working in a career that fits perfectly with these strengths, how does that make you feel? Really step into it. Really think about how your heart, how your body would feel if you were working in a career that matched your natural strengths. This will help fortify the importance for you, ladies. It's a really important step to think about how it will make you feel. Okay, ladies, we are stepping into the final step, step 4 of actioning your future. I want you to write down, What action steps would be meaningful in moving closer in alignment with your strengths? Even if it's one step, ladies, one step. Share with a friend, create an accountability system for yourself, and then create another step. This will move you towards actioning, creating a plan for yourself. What do brave steps look like for you? And I can tell you, having an accountability partner can really be helpful. Team up with a friend. Maybe you have a friend who's going through the same thing. Do it together. Partner with each other and hold each other accountable. Have conversations. Go through these exercises together. And ladies, I do not have time to cover this in our training today. I do have some powerful tools that I leverage with my clients to really begin putting their heart's desires for their careers into action. And so today I'm going to summarize our everything we covered. It is so critical to acknowledge your strengths so you can be confident in moving towards a career that you were meant for. So as a recap, what we did today first was a top strengths clarity exercise. Second, a career alignment checkpoint. Where are you really? And then a career alignment introspection. And finally, actioning towards your future career. Ladies, if this resonates with you and you want to hear more about how I work one-on-one with clients, please send me a message in LinkedIn. I'd be happy to share more about the various solutions that I offer to my clients. And I want you to know that I've truly enjoyed this time with you, and I'm sending so much love your way. And mostly, I want you to remember it's never too late.